Today's show is sponsored by Self Publishing for Fun and Profit. I'm so excited today to have my very special guest from Take Action University, the founder herself, Miss Lisa Ducharme. And I am just really excited about that to see what all we have going on today because we have an exciting show for you today. Lisa and I are going to be talking about how to disappoint customers and ruin uh, your reputation by promising what you cannot deliver on. And I'm excited to have this conversation because over the past few weeks, we have seen a lot of entrepreneurs disappointing customers and ruining their reputations because they have made promises that they could not keep. So today, Lisa and I are going to unpack this with you guys. I'm going to bring Lisa to the stream. Lisa, how are you doing today?
I am good. Thank you for having me. Happy Friday.
Yes, it is Face It Friday, and face it, as an entrepreneur, one of the most important things you need to do is keep your promises. And unfortunately, many of our businesses are making promises that they can't keep. And this past week, Lisa, I literally was feeling like I wanted to pull my hair out as I was a disappointed customer. And to help avoid this situation, I thought I'd put together something and ask you to join me and hop on and start talking about it so that we can discuss the 5 things that I thought would have made all the difference when these particular businesses were servicing me as a client. So today we're going to talk about that. But before we talk about those 5 steps, have you had any disappointing customer services experience in the past? Let's just make it easy. How about the last 90 days, Lisa?
Oh, let's see. Can I count the ways? How many times have I complained to you about such poor customer service? I think one of my challenges is we're in an environment where it seems okay to give poor customer service because some businesses, and this is part of the challenge since COVID, some people are slowly going back to work. So they've got their little bit of a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got these online folks who are so overwhelmed because the online businesses really did good during COVID, but now they're not doing as good. So they're laying people off. And so the service is not as good as it was during COVID because they've reduced the manpower. And that seems to be happening all over the place.
And that will lead us right into our first step in this conversation. It's about being honest with yourself about what you can deliver. The first step to delivering on your promises is to be honest with yourself about what you can deliver. Don't make promises you can't keep, as this will only lead to disappointment down the road. Start by analyzing your capabilities and resources and only make commitments that you know you can meet. By doing so, you'll build trust with your clients and avoid damaging your reputation. Lisa, when it comes to that part right there, I've created a couple of little banners I wanted to put down to kind of guide our conversation. And the very first one is simply deliver on your promises.
Yeah, it's basic 101. I can't get past that one.
Lisa, because here's the thing. One of my pet peeves, and I know this is all a part of doing business, is those long, never ending funnel sales emails that promise, 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 promise. And then I'm all excited. I get the product and it's nowhere near what they promised because although they have all the slick things now that we can get all these funnel makers, etc., some of the newer people, and actually some of the older ones, to be quite honest, because I had a couple of disappointments with some what I call reputable people that I was kind of shocked by as they throw stuff up, especially with our new AI phenomenon that's now becoming so widely used. People are promising you the moon and don't even own a rocket. So, what are your thoughts about the importance of being able to deliver what you say that you can deliver?
You have to, especially in today's world where there are millions of people that they can go to. Every single customer can go to no less than 20 people for any particular service, and in some cases, even more. I think part of the problem that I've seen over the last maybe 2 years or so is that what's happening is people are not considering how much time it's going to take them. So, for example, a lot of people are working from home.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a computer, because they can do it based on the systems that they're offering, et cetera, nice and easy. Like you said, the AI writing assistants. So people have been able to work from home. And they're not really looking at how much time it honestly takes them to do something. You and I have had this conversation in the past where, with my 15 minutes results coaching, 15 minutes is not all I have. I mean, I can't say that I can take a client every 15 minutes because that's not
No.
possible.
Mm-mm.
If you do not account for your prep time, your action time, and your post prep time, then you are going to end up not being able to deliver and really disappoint the customers, especially sometimes you don't get just one customer, you get 5, 6, or 7.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, well, I'll get to them, I'll start, or even giving them half a product is problematic. If you promise them a whole product and you can't deliver, then you need to readjust, say, this is my new timeline before your deadline promise day.
I think the other thing I noticed too, with a lot of us doing things um, via online services like webinars and Zoom meetings, FaceTime, Skype, etc., it's important to have your technology on point. I recently attended something, and the person was a one-woman show, and she did not account for all the things she needed to do, like letting people into the room, her presentations having problems. And one of the things I tell the people that I work with is that always, when you're going to do an event, have a backup. Even if you're a one-man operation, enlist your friends. Some of us in the super connector arena would have events, and we would call in the force and say, hey, I'm going to do this event on such and such day. Can you come monitor the waiting room? Can you come do the presentations? Will you do this so I can focus on what it is I need to deliver? That has been a godsend. There was no money required because we were friends, fellow entrepreneurs helping fellow entrepreneurs. It is important to have a team and a community when you do these type of things. So don't think that if you're going to be inviting more than one or two people or just your friends and family to an event, make sure you have the necessary administrative support so that you can deliver on what you promised. Wanted to make sure I got that out there because that's a pet peeve of mine. I've done it myself when I just started, Lisa, because I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. That's why you get a coach, so you can make sure you figure out all these things that nobody ever tells you about. Because it is true. There will be things you will not know until you go, oops, I think I missed that. The next step, Lisa, goes, oops, that's not the next step. The next step is step number 2 is set realistic expectations with your clients. Sorry, I am busy. What? Are you kidding me? Once you've assessed your capabilities and resources, the next step is to set realistic expectations with your clients. Be clear about what you can deliver and when you can deliver it. Don't promise anything you can't deliver within the time frame that client expects. If you think it will take longer than the client expects, be truthful and communicate with them. They'll appreciate the honesty and be more willing to work with you in the future. Lisa, now this one, excuse me, is a biggie because I take off every other month.
Yes.
So I have to set realistic goals and I have to be clear. And one of the things last month was really the first month that I took off. And some things happened that I went, oops, I need to prepare better for that. I had people still contacting me, even though I've told everybody in America every other month I take off. What I did not do was turn on an autoresponder so that when people sent an email expecting support from me, they know Brenda's not in the building. I also didn't pass that to the people that are my affiliates that fan out and try to promote me for. So there were some people that didn't, they maybe have contacted me early May, but I didn't respond back until the second week in June once I was caught up. So I'm having to put systems in place so I can set realistic goals for myself that if I'm going to take every other month off, how does that impact my clients? How does that impact me? And what do I need to do differently so that I can provide good service and not ruin my reputation?
And I think it was fascinating that you just brought up that you didn't reach back out to somebody until the second week of June, even though you were back for the first week of June. And I think that that's probably really a good point for people to understand. That first week is catch up from being
Catch up.
gone for the month.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means that has to be part of what you put together. So when you're thinking about what you can deliver and how, that's an important part. For me, I think probably the biggest challenge with being online for most of what I do is I deal with people throughout the United States, and they're all on different time zones.
Oh, yeah, time
And
zones.
when you are setting up meetings and telling your customers when you are available and when you're not, you need to remember to put the CST, the mountain time, etc. Because if I tell a customer, look, do not call me after 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. depending on the day of the week, um, I need to say Eastern Standard Time, because
Right,
somebody
right.
unknown that they're 9 p.m., I'm not responding to their emails. And you also have to be very cognizant of you have to put your space there. So
Mm-hmm.
I may answer my emails 7 days a week because that's just who I am and it's my
I ain't
process.
going to.
Right. And but I don't tell my clients that I answer my emails 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm working with a client, okay, Monday through Friday, this is my schedule. This, because if I decide I don't want to do something on a Friday or on a Saturday or Sunday, I'm not doing it.
That's right.
But even more importantly, if I don't put those expectations in now, later on down the road, that might come down and bite me in the butt. So it's important to set the realistic expectations on hours, even if you are not someone who really goes by the hours. You still
Mm-hmm.
need to put the realistic expectation. Do not text me before 6 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter that I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't want a text coming in before 6 o'clock in the morning because I'm one of those weird people who will read my text. And it's like, there's work at 5 o'clock in the morning. Um, and I don't put my phone on silent because I have family that I have to be very aware of, very cognizant if there's some emergency. So my phone does not go on silent. So setting those realistic expectations in reference to your time is critical.
And Lisa, you taught me that because I didn't have office hours. I was pretty much 24/7 because having sleep issues, I was often up, so I would just work no matter what. Once I put office hours in place and made a rule that I don't work on weekends, that was a game changer for me. It allowed me to get better rest, and it also helped me keep control and began to account for that extra admin time I need so that I could set realistic goals for myself and my clients about when they would get the service that they were paying for. It's really frustrating. And like, well, let me go back. Like you, I don't put my phone on do not disturb unless like now I would have it on while we're on this particular call because my child happens to be home. But if Alex is not home, my phone is not going to disturb because I want to be able to, if they need me to be available. Yes, Alex is 22 for those of you out there saying, but they're grown. They're grown, they're in college, and I'm still a mama. So get over yourself. Anyway. And that's a realistic thing for me because I know my comfort level of my availability for my child. So I have to build that into my business as well. When you're an entrepreneur, if you happen to be a parent, then you may have to set some standards that say during nap time, if you have young kids, I don't take calls. I have one of my favorite people that is a coach, Focus James, the focus of love, teaching people how to live juicy lives. When it comes to her time with her daughter, she ain't playing. She will tell you, oh no, can't do that. I have a this with my daughter, I do that. And she'll go, is there another time that will work with you or for you? And she doesn't even bat an eye. I've gotten so used to it now that I'm like, wait a minute, oh, it's such and such. Focuses with her daughter. We know, do not even go there. She drew that line in the sands. I love it because Focus definitely has been taking the June theme of burn the boats, because she drew that line in the sand and do not allow people to take away from her family time. So setting realistic goals around what your schedule, what your family obligations are, and also what your capabilities are as an organization is important. Once we get past that, Lisa, it's time for us to move on to our next step, which is to communicate clearly and honestly. I put these little bubbles in here because I thought if we had somebody's calling in, Oh, there is an extra charge. Only comes in one color. Glad I could help. We have 24/7 support. We can do anything. Really? We can do anything? Communication is key in delivering on your promises. You need to make sure you keep the lines of communication open with your clients and keep them informed about any updates or changes that may occur. If you can't meet a deadline, let your clients know as soon as possible and explain why. Don't make excuses, but be truthful about the situation because really things happen. By keeping them informed, clients will be more understanding and willing to work with you to find a solution. Oftentimes, we think that by hiding something, it's going to make it better, but I'm all about transparency in business. My computer crashed again. And why did it crash again? Because I bought a computer because someone asked Ramiko, my friend in Japan, hey, Ramiko, well, saying, I thought you just bought a computer. Well, I did just buy a computer. But what I did was I bought a cheap computer that did not have the capacity for what I'm doing. And so I ended up with another crash when I overloaded the computer, even after buying an external hard drive. So this time, my new computer should arrive today, and it is fully loaded with more storage than the law allows, with more bells and whistles, which will allow for all the videos, podcasts, and editing that I do, the publishing that I do in my self-publishing company, and everything else. And I should not have another computer crash. I originally, Lisa, thought that the crashes were happening because of my not so great computer skills. But the reality was I had the inappropriate equipment for what I needed to do. After doing some research and talking to some experts, I now have the computer and the storage that's going to support what I do. That required that I communicated with several of my clients and say, hey, that thing you were supposed to get yesterday, it's not coming to next week because I have a computer crash. Imagine the ones that have been through me with the 3 computer crashes I had. You think they're kind of fed up with me, Lisa?
Yeah. No, because you actually do communicate very clearly and you make up for it.
I do make up for it, but still it's a slash. And I'm happy to say the people that have been with me the longest have been more than patient and have given me lots of grace. And I don't have any new clients right now that have experienced this stuff there. So hopefully going forward, I won't damage my reputation by not having the equipment that can help me serve in what I'm doing. What is your thoughts about transparency in business?
It's critical. Don't lie. You know what? Here is a pet peeve of mine. I find it funny, but I also find it annoying at the same time. You know how some people say, oh, I sent you an email that this was going to be delayed. Okay, well, forward me the email that you sent.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't forward me the email. Oh, I must have deleted it. Mm-hmm. No, you didn't delete it. You never sent it.
Yeah.
Communication has to be clear and honest. There are a lot of people who think people who are not good with computers, and by the way, I am someone who is good with computers, so I know how to go and check to see if something got jammed in my email. Mm-hmm. But that's problematic because today there are times in which you do have problems with the system. Sometimes it's sitting in draft. How many times have I set stuff in draft and left it there, and 3 or 4 days later, I'm like, what? How'd that get in the draft? But the problem is those things do happen. And you have to communicate honestly. Sorry, this was sitting in my draft. Here it is. And then if you have to make up for something, make up for something. I was working with a business the other day. I'm actually their client because it's a system that I have. I was so annoyed because he was like, well, you should have gotten my email. No, well, there's a problem with your email then. No. And I showed him the email. I sent him the email that said, we went back and forth all day long. I was that annoyed. I was not letting him get away with it because I paid for a service I wasn't getting. Mm-hmm. And I finally said, and his calendar wasn't open until this week because this was last week. And I finally said, look, I paid for a service. You failed to deliver on this service. Now, imagine me getting my temper up this high where I am slamming you on every aspect of your failure, and I'm calling it a failure. Mm-hmm. So he immediately sent me a message and said, I'm available for the next hour. And then sent me the link. So I was able to hop on. And in the end, he was very nice. He was apologetic. I chew them out for not sending me the link sooner and for all of the challenges that happened. But they're relatively a new business.
Yeah.
But the communication was wrong because I was not told the truth. But when I did get onto the call with him, it was clear, it was crisp, it was concise. We got through what we needed in less than 30 minutes. All of my issues were resolved, but I spent a day of being angst.
Mm-hmm.
Now, normally that would have caused him a whole bunch of trouble. But
Mm-hmm.
because when I got on the call, I realized they're a new business, which I did not know before,
Mm-hmm.
that they're going through some glitches, which I did not know before.
Right.
So had that been communicated early on, we wouldn't have had these issues.
Yeah.
So communication clearly, and just like I said in reference to the emails, make sure people know when you're going to respond.
Yeah.
If you don't respond within a 24-hour period, or you have a 72-hour period where they're going to get their email response, if you have an out of office, put an out of office on and say, thank you for your email. Um, I respond within 72 hours or 48 hours, however long
Mm-hmm.
you do.
Right.
This way they know when to. That's clear communication about when you're going to get back to me by.
And that is so clear too. Another part of transparency in business for me is about pricing. I do not like someone putting me on something and saying it's going to be free, and then you bombard me constantly with trying to sell me something when I'm in your event or whatever. I don't have a problem with if it's free, but we're going to be trying to sell you something while you're there. I've been on those kind of calls. I love them because there's an expectation that there is a price. Now, there are those people that will say, well, Brenda, if they give you something free, they're going to try to sell you something. Knowing it and being told it is two different things. And there's different than you give me what you said you're going to give me free, or when you call me and say, I'm going to get a free webinar, and the webinar is an entire sales pitch.
Oh, yeah,
There's a difference with that. So transparency in business for me means if you're going to go in and tell me, I'm going to give you 3 steps on how to do X, I expect to get those 3 steps, not a sales pitch from the time you get on your call to the time we get off. And I never got the 3 steps. That has happened a lot. I don't like it. I don't think it's fair. And I don't think it's honest. And that is not transparent. That's why I try when we do our strategy calls to make sure up front to let people know I do the strategy calls because I am trying to sell or promote a service. And at this time, if that is not something you would be interested in, let me know, and we do not have to take this call. And then from there, but guess what? I don't spend the entire call pitching my service. I actually do what I say I'm going to do for them. I give them strategies. My goal is to always have people leave more informed than when they arrived. And then I tell them what my services are, unless they ask to go on between the call, and I'm more than happy to share that with them. But transparency in business is so important, Lisa, and I hope more of our fellow entrepreneurs will begin to be transparent. Our next step in this process, deliver on your promises. Lord have mercy, Jesus. Once you've set realistic expectations and communicated clearly with your clients, it's time to deliver on your promises. Make sure you meet the deadlines you've set and deliver a high quality product or service. If you have any doubts about your ability to do so, do not hesitate to ask for help or outsource the work. I'm going to say that again. Do not hesitate to ask for work or outsource the work. It is better to admit you need assistance rather than to deliver a subpar product or service that will damage your reputation. Lisa, how many times have we seen people do stuff that we know it's not their bailiwick? And we're saying the power of under promising and over delivering cannot be overstated. What's your thoughts, Lisa?
That's true, because when you think about delivering on your promise and you think about, here's what I said, I'm going to give this person a strategy to adjust their time management during the day. And I'm also going to write them out a plan. And if this happens, and give them a mind map on top of that. So I sit down and I talk with them, but I only give them a plan. I don't give them the other 2 things that I promised. They may love the plan because the plan is detailed, but it's not going to take them long to realize in that plan are 2 pieces that are missing.
Yeah.
So you may think, oh, well, I just delivered a 30-page plan and it was only supposed to be 5 pages, but I didn't deliver this and this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? That's under delivering. You made a promise and you broke it. And that to customers goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you say, I'm going to give you a 5-page plan and you end up giving them a 20-page plan and then you end up giving them a mind map on top of it and something else, wow, talk about over delivering. It's something that you know is valuable to them. You know you want to give it,
Mm-hmm.
but you only promised this and you gave them the extras, which means you've given them more value. And it's not really going to adjust on your price because people are going to say, well, wait a minute, if I give them this, if I tell them I'm going to give them a 5-pager, I'm not going to get as much as if I tell them I'm going to give them a 5-pager and then the mind map and this, and then I give them a 30-page document.
Mm-hmm.
You have to realize there is a big difference. This is what the customer's thinking. I'm getting a 5-page and these two other things.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, you give me a 30-page, but I don't get the other two things. So you have to deliver on what you promise. You can't alter the plan going through, because imagine you sitting there and saying, I just bought myself a Ferrari with all the upgrades and everything. And all of a sudden I get there, I've got the Ferrari and all I got is a tank full of gas.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Or in this case, I bought a Ferrari and I get a Yugo. Because there are oftentimes, I just saw a YouTube story about some prom dresses that were horrific. The young ladies ordered custom prom dresses and they did not get what they ordered at all. And so this young lady who had the service, she has a lot of seamstresses and stuff, but she's battling back saying that's not the way it was. But unfortunately for her, the young ladies had pictures. And so it was clear that the prom dress that they had ordered, they did not receive. Her reputation is damaged. And there are a lot of women that are doing the custom prom because that's a very valuable market now. But for this young lady, she probably tanked herself really bad because proms are such special occasions, like weddings. You get in a wedding dress. You don't want to find out the day of your wedding that your wedding dress is 6 sizes too small. So it's real important for us to use the power of under promising, like what Lisa says. If you base your basic promise is to provide those 3 documents in a webinar or something, for example, provide what you say, but also feel free to provide additional bonuses, which will then put you in the over delivery. I tell you, the masters of over delivery are Chris and Jen over there at the Super Connector Media. I'm going to mention them once in a while,
Yeah.
because they are the bomb.com and they are the masters at under promising and over delivering. If you want to see how it's done, go check out Jen Gottlieb's on Instagram or Chris Winfield, and you will find it because they're not playing. Anyway, I'll make sure I put them in my YouTube link so you know who they are. But the key is to always, always, always deliver on what you promised. You can't go wrong by giving your customers what you say that you're going to give them. The next step, Lisa, and our final step in this process is follow up and ask for feedback. After you've delivered on your promises, don't forget to follow up with your clients and ask for feedback. This will help you understand what went well and what you can improve upon in the future. Use this feedback to make adjustments to your processes and continue delivering high quality products or services. Or should I say, and services? Either way. The key is to get the feedback. And why should you get the feedback? Because all feedback is valuable. I had a conversation with a business owner recently, Lisa, and they were incensed because people were giving negative feedback. And I was like, no, you need to change your mindset around that. All feedback is valuable because what you are hearing, and since you're hearing it consistently, that means you need to do something about it. I love complaints because in the Marine Corps, we were taught that complaints are opportunities for improvement. So I don't see complaints in a negative light. What I like to do is what we would do is a risk analysis and assessments to say, okay, based on this complaint, or as we would relabel them, based on this opportunity for improvement, what could we do differently? When the lady complained to me or gave me an opportunity to improve about contacting me early May and not hearing back from me to June. Although I will tell you this, once she realized why she had not heard from me, she's now a client and wants me to teach her how she can take every other month off, which I will gladly do. Uh, but the thing about it is, having that said, I'm now put systems in place like the autoresponder. Continue to say it more often and let people know I really am taking off for a month. So if you need my help for the month of July, you better get it in June or don't expect to get it until August. You know. And for those who ask, well, Brenda, how can you do that? It's called passive income. And if you want to know how you could take every other month, every other week, every other day, every other minute, or whatever it is you want off, DM me and I will show you how you can do it. Lisa, what's your thought about feedback? Is all feedback valuable or am I on hallucinogenic drugs?
You're on hallucinogenic drugs, but all feedback is valuable. Just throwing that out there. I'm messing with you.
I know.
No, feedback is critical, but it also explains why follow-up is critical. Here's one thing that I've learned over the years in reference to follow-up. I will follow up with a client and they may have something that bothered them, but it wasn't important enough for them to tell me about it until I followed up to see how they were doing and if there was a glitch in anything. But I can promise you that follow, without doing that follow-up, that feedback becomes negative feedback. And even though they don't say it to you, we know they say it to somebody else. And if they're saying it to somebody else, it's going other places. So follow-up serves actually two valuable purposes. One, it shows the customers that you're not a hit it and quit it kind of person. Thank you for the money and goodbye. But also what it does is it shows the value that you see in them, that you want to know, hey, did you get out of my coaching or out of my service or out of this or out of that? Did you get what you paid for?
Yeah.
And so that's always important. And asking for feedback is so hard. I don't care how great of an experience you've had. I will tell you, it is one of the hardest things I have ever done. In fact, I very rarely do it. I do follow up, but I don't ask them to write feedback. I ask them for feedback, but I don't ask them to write the feedback. You do want them not just to talk it to you. You do want them to be able to give it to you because that's important for them to put it in writing as well if you're comfortable doing that.
I'm very comfortable doing that. And I've made sure to allow for feedback in my processes because I think it's really important for making sure that I'm delivering on the services that I said before. Sometimes it's hard for people to accept feedback, especially if they haven't learned not to take it personal. I learned a long time ago, feedback is simply someone expressing that the service or the product that they received wasn't to their standards. It doesn't mean it wasn't to standards. It just wasn't to their standards. And so that can take the personal sting out of it when they say, I got this and it really was bad or whatever it was. Or because we all love it when we get good feedback. But it's when we get the bad feedback that we can start internalizing some of those things. And we have classes all about that. And that brings me to my slide on the Convene community, the Life community, where people can join the portal. The Solutionist portal is where people can go and pay a monthly fee to get group coaching around just some of the things that we spoke about today and other things that entrepreneurs can need to have good customer service so that they won't disappoint customers and ruin their reputations by over promising and under delivering. And while you're there, please check out the other things in the Convene community. You can check out my link above there at the Linktree, Brenda the Solutionist, and click to join the Convene communities for free, where you'll find free and paid content. Lisa, I'm really excited about this topic we talked about today, and I want to put up this final slide called Whatever It Takes. We need to get into a position that delivering on your promises is essential in building trust with your clients and growing your reputation. By following these 5 steps that Lisa and I just laid out, you can ensure you meet your commitments and avoid disappointing your clients. Remember to be honest with yourself about what you can deliver, set realistic expectations, communicate clearly, Deliver on your promises and follow up for feedback. By doing so, you'll set yourself up for success and build a loyal customer base that will support your business for years to come. The bottom line, burn the boat on bad customer service so that you don't ruin your reputation. Lisa, do you have any final thoughts about how they can make sure that they don't ruin their reputations?
Just remember the type of customer service you like. You know the old saying, do unto others before they do unto you? Oh, no, that's not the right one. But you know what I mean.
Well, we're going to end this here by telling you how to tap into not ruining your reputation. Number one, first is adjust your mindset to know that customer service is important. And as an entrepreneur, you should make great, not good, but great customer service a priority. You can do that by announcing within your organization that customer service is number one. Then you get accountability by making sure you have team leaders and managers, supervisors, and yourself that are ensuring that the culture of your company allows for exceptional customer service without exception. Then you prepare by listening to videos like this, going to YouTube University, or joining groups, getting coaching, getting your staff and yourself trained on good customer service, doing whatever it takes to make sure you can provide the service or product that you promised. Then you imagine what your company or business would be capable of doing and what revenue you could generate if you were able to deliver on your promises 100% of the time. And then finally, I want you to nurture that thought so that your company will begin to celebrate the small wins and ensure that you never miss a beat and that you don't ruin your reputation, but that you establish an environment that says your customer service is above most others or many others and will always be one that your customers can count on. I'm excited that you guys joined us today. Lisa lost connection, but that's okay because Lisa will always come back and help me help you bring your business desires to life. We want you to close the gap on desire and reality and move your businesses to the forefront where you want them to be, having excellent customer service with excellent reputations that let you earn the revenue that you seek to earn. Remember, the choices you make today will be the reality you live tomorrow. So choose wisely and choose to give great customer service. Be blessed.